Some properties from algebra. We have the associative property, which essentially says if you're adding or subtracting three or more things, all the same sign, you can add or subtract in any order. The multiplication part of that is if you're multiplying three or more things, you can do that in any order. The commutative property says that if you add a plus b, that's the same as b plus a. And if you're multiplying two things, 2 times 4 is the same as 4 times 2. It doesn't change. The distributive property, the property that I think everyone knows, if you're multiplying a number, like a, times a sum, or times a difference, you simply multiply it by each of the things that you're adding or subtracting in the parentheses. Another example here, the second one, if you are subtracting something that's in parentheses, you can distribute the subtract sign inside the parentheses. Also, if you are dividing a sum by a number, you can divide that into two separate fractions, each thing that you're adding in the numerator divided by the denominator. All right, let's look at example 7. The expression is equivalent to which of the following? Well, let's distribute this c. Well, let's distribute the minus c. It's going to be a times b minus cd minus cf. It's important that this is a minus because we are multiplying, in a sense, a negative times a positive, which is a negative. If we then distribute the a, we're going to get ab minus acd minus acf. That is answer D. Number 8. Let x equal 2a minus 3b plus c. What happens to the value of x if the value of a is decreased by 1 and the value of b is increases by 2 and the value of c remains constant? What happens to the value of x? This is a great problem where what you want to do is you want to pick your own numbers and you plug them into the problem. So we have two situations. We have this situation here, x equals 2a minus, let me start that over, x equals 2a minus 3b plus c. Then you have another situation, we'll call this the old situation. We have a new situation where you're supposed to change those values. So let's say that the numbers that we're going to pick, let's say that we pick that a is 1, b is 2, and c is 3. If we plug those numbers into this, we're going to get 2 times 1 minus 3 times 2 plus 3. That's 2 minus 6 plus 3. We get negative 1 for the answer. Now in our new situation, we are supposed to decrease a by 1. So we're still putting it into this situation. So instead of using 1, I'm going to use 0. The value of b increases by 2, so instead of b being 2, it's going to be 4. C remains the same. That's 3. 2 times 0 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12. If we add 3 to that, we get negative 9. So we're supposed to, the question was, what happens to the value of x? So our choices, it increases by 8. Well, negative 1 plus 8 is 7. It increases by 4. That's not true. It remains unchanged. That's not true. It decreases by 5. That's not true. It decreases by 8 is true. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9. Now, something that I did here that I probably shouldn't have done, it works out for this problem, and it doesn't for all problems, is when you pick your own numbers, you really should never pick 0 or 1. Now, this problem, it's fine if you pick a to be 1, But as a general rule, if you don't know better, and I'm assuming that you don't, when you pick your own numbers, don't choose 1 or 0 for your numbers. I set a bad example for that problem. Number 9. If a and b are consecutive integers, so that a is bigger than b is bigger than 0, then a squared minus b squared is what? This is another example where if you pick your own numbers, I'll show you how this works. It makes this problem fairly easy to do. So it says a is bigger than b, and once again we want to try to avoid using the number 1. So I'm going to say that a is 3 and b is 2. A is bigger than b because 3 is bigger than 2. So we're going to take a squared minus b squared. So that's going to be 3 squared minus 2 squared. That's 9 minus 4. That gives us 5 for the answer. So which of these answers is correct? Whichever one is going to give us 5 for the answer. If you put 2 in for b, you get b is 2. That's not 5. We're looking for 5 for the answer. For b is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That's not 5. C, put 2 in for b. 2 plus 1 is 3. That's not the answer. D, put 2 in for b. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Ding, ding, ding. Just to be safe, let's check E. If we get 2 answers that are correct, then we're going to have to do some more work. E is 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 2 is 6. So the only one that works is D. Choosing your own numbers when you're given lots of variables works for most problems. All right, let's move on to example 10. 3 consecutive odd integers have a sum of 33. What is the largest of these integers? So you could choose your own numbers for this and see which ones worked. You know, if the first things that you chose didn't work, you pick another pair. This one I actually think is better and easier to do with algebra. So 3 consecutive odd integers. So let's say that the smallest one is x. Well, the next one, if it's a consecutive odd integer, that means the next one is 2 more than that. So for example, if 1 is your odd integer, then 3 is your next one. They're 2 apart. So it's 2 more. And then the largest is 2 more than that. X plus 2 is x plus 4. It says their sum is 33. So x plus 2 plus x plus 4 is 33. We got 3 x's. 2 plus 4 is 6. If you subtract 6 from both sides and divide by x, or divide by 3 I should say, you get 9. The question is, what is the largest of these integers? Well, the largest one is going to be 9 plus 4, which is 13. If that does not work well for you, if that's way too much work for this problem, because the whole point of the ACT is to be quick. Another possibility is to look at the answers. So let's say that you think maybe 13 is the answer. So it's 13, that's supposed to be the largest, plus 2 less than that, plus 2 less than that. Does that add up to 33? Sure does. You know, if you had chosen to try 11, it would be 11 plus 9 plus 7, which is 27. It's too small. So you can, in some problems, you can use the answers to try to figure out what the answer is. That's one of the benefits of multiple choice test. 11, 5 consecutive even numbers adds up to 560. If the third number is x, so that's the number in the middle, find the largest value, the largest number. So if the middle is x, one smaller than that is x minus 2, one smaller than that is x minus 4. So we got smallest, smaller than the middle, and then we got bigger than the middle, and then we got the biggest. It makes up 5 numbers. So if the middle is x, then one that's one more bigger is x plus 2, and the biggest is x plus 4. It says that their sum is 560. Well, if I add these up, I'm going to have 5 x's. And if I add up the minus 4, minus 2, plus 2, and plus 4, I'm going to get 0. So the sum is 5x is 560. That makes x 112. The question asks, what is the value of the largest number? Well, the largest number is 4 more than that. 4 more than that is 116. 12. If x and y are integers such that x is bigger than 2 and y is bigger than 3, and m is the average, yada yada yada. Before I get in too deep, let's pick some numbers for x and for y. So let's say if x is bigger than 2, let's get nuts and let's say that it's 4. Y is bigger than 3, let's say that that's 6. I don't necessarily want to make those the same numbers, even though it probably would work out fine. M is the average of those. Well, the average is 4 plus 6 over 2, which is 10 over 2, which is 5. Then we got to figure out what this is equal to. M, which is 5, plus x, which is 4, plus y, which is 6, divided by 3. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 5 is 15. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we're looking for 5 for the answer. 0's not 5, 1's not 5. H is 5 plus 4 plus 6. That's not 5. J is the average of x and y. Well, we found the average of x and y. It was 5. This is also 5, so that works. K, the absolute value of the difference of x and y. Well, if you subtract x and y, you get negative 2. The absolute value is 2. So J is the correct answer. (13). This is the most complicated one, I think, in this set. So if the square root of m plus the square root of n equals the square root of m plus n, which of the following must be true? Let's check each of these answers. I don't want to circle that. Let's look at A. M times n is 1. So for this to be true, anytime you have a product and the answer is 1, the things you're multiplying have to be reciprocals of each other. So let's say that m is 9 and n is then 1/9. Is that the same as 9 plus a 9th square rooted? Well, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 1/9 is 1/3. And this over here is going to be 9 and 1/9. 3 plus a third is 3.3 repeating. If you put into a calculator the square root of 9 and 1/9, you're going to get 3.01. So that doesn't work. Those are not equal. So A is not the answer. B, square root of m equals the square root of n. Well, for that to be true, m and n have to be the same numbers. So let's say that, I'm going to pick perfect squares. Let's say that they're both 25. Is that the same as this? Well, the square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 25 is 5. 25 plus 25 is 50. So that's 10. The square root of 50 is about 7. Those are not the same. So B is not the answer. C, m, and n are both 0. So let's see if that gives us a true answer. So that's square root of 0 plus square root of 0 equals square root of 0 plus 0. Well, that checks out. So maybe that's the answer. D, one of them is 0, but the other one isn't. So that would be 0 plus, let's use a perfect square, 0 plus 9. This also checks out because the square root of 9 is 3. So maybe that's the answer. So we got two choices so far that work. I am running out of space. Square root of, let's see, one of them are 1, the other one isn't 1. So square root of 1 plus square root of 25 equals 1 plus 25 square root. That's 1 plus 5. So this is saying 6 is the square root of 26, which is not true. So having said all of that stuff, we are down to C or D. It says which one of the following must be true. So D must be true. And the reason is, as long as one of the numbers is 0, this is going to work. Because when you plug this in, let me move this out of the way. So I'm saying that D is the answer. Once you plug a 0 into this and a 0 into this, it has no effect on the outcome of the answer. So you're left with, in each case, the square root of a number equals the square root of the same number. This one up here works, that's true, but they both don't have to be 0 for this to work. So the answer is D.